So it is now recording. I see it recording.
Cool. You want to...
Should I put this right here?
Yeah, that'd probably be...
There we go. All right. Cool. Now we're all set. We're all professional now.
Alrighty. Welcome, guys. This is the Jew Review. I'm Joel Vandersloos, and this is my friend Jason Dolan.
Hey, guys.
We're coming to you today to do a little predictions video for the Oscar nominations coming up tomorrow.
That's right. This is how you're going to win your pool.
Absolutely. So let's not waste too much time and get straight into it.
All right. So first category we're going to talk about is Best Actor.
All right.
The nominees are Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver for Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, and Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes.
All right.
So
Jason, what performance do you want to win, first of all?
The performance that I want to win is Adam Sandler for Uncut Gems. Unfortunately, he didn't get nominated, but he did win tonight at the Film Independent Spirit Awards, which was amazing. So thank God that happened. Maybe we'll only get a Netflix movie from Adam Sandler that's 10 times as awful as his worst movie ever made. But out of these nominated performances, it's Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, I love Adam Driver, but, he's got a million more stories in him. He definitely made a million movies this year. Actually, he didn't make them this year, but he can't predict. He's not in charge of when they get released. But he had like 7 movies this year.
Yeah, he had The Report, Marriage Story, Star Wars.
Man Who Killed Don Quixote.
Yeah, there's so many. I can't even keep track.
I know, right? But Marriage Story is definitely his best performance. And he's Joaquin Phoenix's biggest competition, I think. But Antonio Banderas is amazing in Pain and Glory. DiCaprio, honestly, DiCaprio might be my favorite performance. I think of his, especially in recent years. He's recently won for The Revenant, though, so we know he's not going to win. And then Jonathan Pryce, again, stole Adam Sandler's nomination. But no, Jonathan Pryce is an amazing actor. I love. Go see Brazil if you've never seen that Terry Gilliam movie. But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker. I mean, how about yourself?
I mean, I would have to say, I think Joaquin. He's earned this Oscar, after so many years of giving wonderful performances and never quite, getting the recognition he quite deserved.
I mean, it goes all the way back to Gladiator, his first nomination for supporting actor, Walk the Line, and I think he got nominated for The Master as well. I know he has 3 nominations, but
I believe he did.
I mean, I loved him for teaching me how to masturbate as a young child in Parenthood, and Keanu Reeves. That's what little dudes do. Yeah. So, Joaquin Phoenix, I think he's one of those actors that is just a legacy actor in this performance. He lost all the weight. He just did all the things you're supposed to do to win an Oscar, and he's going to get it. Yeah,
I 100% agree with that. I think he's going to win, and I think he is the best choice this year by far.
All right, so mark that one down on your ballot. Now we'll go to actor in a supporting role. This is Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes, Al Pacino in The Irishman, Joe Pesci in The Irishman, and of course Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
What do you got for this one?
Well, I mean, it's not like Brad Pitt's going to win again, right? He's almost won he won every award that he's been nominated for?
He's won every award that he's won, and not only that, he's doing this comedy tour where every acceptance speech is like material that Arthur Fleck only wish he could have written in The Joker, because, I mean, Brad Pitt, he is a hilarious human being. You watch movies like Burn After Reading. He is so funny. So... and with the other nominees, they've all won before. Yeah. Brad Pitt's never won. He's been nominated multiple times. 12 Monkeys was his first nomination, 96. Incredible performance.
Great movie.
7, Fight Club. I mean, throughout the years, he's just turned in these just tremendous performances by a guy that's more good looking than any human being deserves to be. But yeah, but just to make it fun, who was your favorite performance that was not Brad Pitt out of the remaining 4? I know you only saw one Pope, so
yeah, no.
Was Anthony Hopkins the one you saw, or did you see Jonathan Pryce?
I saw a part of Anthony Hopkins' performance, and I mean, it's Anthony Hopkins. Of course, it's going to be a notable performance, but as far as like a mesmerizing one, I have to say like there are probably at least a half dozen Anthony Hopkins performances I've seen that were much
better.
Much better.
Yeah.
As far as The Irishman goes, I mean, all the performances, the direction, just everything in that movie was pretty solid.
Yeah.
But as far as like the best of the year, I don't know. Like I love seeing those actors' chemistry together and whatnot. But obviously, I'm gonna have to give it to Tom Hanks. Just because I think I don't know, it was the most emotional performance I think out of all of the ones listed here, just as far as becoming the character.
Becoming an iconic. I mean, nobody knows what Jimmy Hoffa really looked like, so Al Pacino just became it.
Yeah,
and
he was great.
Anthony Hopkins, the same. They all are playing like real life characters too, which is interesting.
They're doing the best job that they can, obviously.
Yeah.
But
you felt Tom Hanks, he was the one that really encompassed it for you?
Yeah, it's just the amount of connection I had to his character versus all the other guys on the list. I have to say, like, it was the performance that affected me the most personally.
Well, I have to 100% agree with you. I initially might have been Al Pacino, but when I finally did see Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the scene with like the little boy with the oxygen, I was just like crying in the movie theater by myself. Well, it was me and like 18 old ladies, in this theater over at North DeKalb. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So if Brad Pitt wasn't so due, I think Tom Hanks would win it. But for your ballot, guys, Brad Pitt is the way to go. All right, let's go on to actress in a leading role. We've got Cynthia Erivo in Harriet, Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan in Little Women, Charlize Theron in Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger in Judy.
Yeah.
Now, how many of these performances have you had a chance to see?
I've seen all of them except for Bombshell.
Right.
So Charlize Theron, I'm sure she did a great job. She's a great actress.
She honestly killed it in this movie. Like, it's a really deserved nomination. So good. So good. I would say, Cynthia Erivo, movie like Harriet, which, didn't get a lot of play. Yeah. And I was, a little on the fence on it, but boy, she really did do just a tremendous job. She was so good.
Yeah.
And Saoirse Ronan, she's always good, whether great. It's Lady Bird or Atonement or Brooklyn. She's just an amazing actress. And Scarlett Johansson, though, this is her first nomination.
It was great.
We've known her since she was in kindergarten, I think. I don't know what her first movie was. I think it was Home Alone 3 or North with Rob Reiner directed. But she's had a really incredible career, but to never get an Oscar nomination was really surprising. She's got 2 this year.
Now she's
We'll get to that.
Best actress, best supporting.
Best supporting actress.
So,
but it's Renee Zellweger.
Of course,
that's it. She's won everything.
Yeah, it's a sweet.
She won the Independent Spirit Award tonight. She's so good in this movie that she's winning any award show possible. And if you haven't seen this movie, you just have to sit down and rent it on Amazon Prime or Google Play now. And
it's a great character study film. I would say the film itself, has some structural issues just as far as a film goes.
It's tough to do an entire person's life.
Yeah.
And this is her as like a little kid that she obviously, they don't do the Irishman thing here. They don't de-age Renee Zellweger to tell you a 13-year-old. Thank God.
Yes.
But it's sort of her in the final kind of years of her life in this last tour. But Renee Zellweger sings all the songs.
Yeah, no, it was very emotional.
And she looks like Judy Davis.
Yeah. Judy Garland.
Judy Garland, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. I was thinking Mommy Dearest in my head, which was, there's one of those clubs you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, but Renee Zellweger, she's going to win. Mark it down on your ballot. Okay, next we've got actress in a supporting role, Kathy Bates and Richard Jewell, Laura Dern in Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh in Little Women, and Margot Robbie in Bombshell. So,
well, once again, didn't see Bombshell, so I wouldn't know too much about Margot Robbie's performance.
You saw Richard Jewell?
I did see Richard Jewell.
You were in Richard Jewell, weren't you?
I was.
I saw him in Richard Jewell. I didn't recognize him. I just recognized the shirt he was wearing.
It was a very brief moment, but I made it in the film.
And I think Kathy Bates to me was the most surprising nomination when they did do these nominations.
I mean, she was good, but she wasn't a very prominent part of the film.
But it is supporting actress. But when I finally watched this, it was literally, I think, the second to last movie I had to watch to see everything this year, and I really did think she did an amazing job. But, she's won before, so she's not going to get it this year.
Probably not.
Margot Robbie, great in Bombshell, but, I think she's got, a couple more roles in her before she's going to really get that Oscar. I think this isn't what she did in I, Tonya, so I think she's going to get it for something like I, Tonya. Florence Pugh, again, another actress who had Fighting with My Family this year, Midsommar, and Little Women. She's got Black Widow coming out with Scarlett Johansson. Yep. I mean, just burst onto the scene.
Yep.
But I don't think she's going to get it either. It really comes down to Scarlett Johansson and Laura Dern.
Yeah, I would say Scarlett Johansson, much like what's her name? Florence Pugh? Mm-hmm. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, much like Florence. Pew, 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 pew. Much like Florence Pugh, like...
We're kind of sitting on a pew.
A little bit. It's a very comfortable pew.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't have these in church.
No. But comparatively, like, it's kind of funny because she's going to be in Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson gets an Oscar nomination for a film where I think she did kind of a really poor accent. And ironically, like, one of the nominees this year is going to have to portray like this Russian accent.
Yes,
is going to be like, judging by
it's always
what I've seen in the trailers.
It's always weird. I go back to The Hunt for Red October, where Sean Connery's doing this very poor Russian accent. But I don't give a shit because he's Sean Connery, and when you're not speaking German, you're speaking English. But you're supposed to be speaking German. Yeah, a lot of times I give two shits about the accent, unless it's like something super. It's like this is not a real character. You do like kind of the tongue-in-cheek German accent, or the tongue-in-cheek British accent, and
for a movie like Jojo Rabbit,
there's a lot of humor in it. You got Taika Waititi playing Hitler, and
which is fantastic,
and he's doing whiteface. But she had so much heart in this movie. I just really loved what she did. But it doesn't matter because Laura Dern's going to win this Oscar. Absolutely. She's been around since Wild at Heart with Nicolas Cage, Jurassic Park. Yep. She's a legend in the business, daughter of Bruce Dern. Yep. There's no way she's not winning.
She was obviously the best performance by far.
Yeah, and incredible in that movie. Yeah, and just a movie that is all about acting. And Marriage Story, I don't think is really going to win anything else. So I think this is their opportunity to give out this award. Though Marriage Story did win Best Screenplay and Ensemble at the Spirit Awards, which you should also check out. Yeah. All right, so now let's move on to we're doing this in the letterboxed ballot order. That's why this may seem out of order. So we're just doing it on this ballot. So,
and if you need a way to keep track of your movie viewing history and ratings, Letterboxd is a great resource for that. So you guys should check it out.
100%, my favorite. Okay, so we're going to do Best Animated Feature Film here. We've got How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Klaus, Missing Link, and Toy Story 4. I'm going to be honest, I've only seen 2 of these.
Yeah, me too.
I saw Klaus and I saw Toy Story 4.
Yep.
That's what you're using, yes.
No, I've seen How to Train Your Dragon and Toy Story 4.
And Toy Story 4, right.
And part of Klaus.
Klaus. I didn't... Yeah. Now, Missing Link is Laika, and they're an incredible animation studio. Kubo and the Two Strings, Coraline, Paranorman. Yep. They've done a lot of amazing stuff. So I could see them winning this award based on that history.
It's kind of the atypical, non-blockbuster-esque animation film.
I can't remember if How to Train Your Dragon won. One of the previous ones ever won any Oscars before.
I think the first one was at least nominated, but I don't remember if it won or not.
We don't remember if it won, but it doesn't matter because I don't think it's winning this year either. I Lost My Body is a Netflix movie that I haven't watched yet, but I hear incredible things about. And then Toy Story 4, obviously, the the Pixar film that everybody was asking for. No.
I thought it was going to be so bad. And
but it was great.
So happy, that it's turned out the way it was. I liked it better than Toy Story 3, honestly.
Wow. I liked it as much as all of the others. They're all perfect films. But for myself, I'm going to say that Klaus is what I think is going to get it this year. Okay. It won the Annie.
Yeah.
And it's won a couple of awards here and there, but Missing Link has won some.
Yep. Well, it's definitely like Klaus has the most unique animation style of all the ones listed as well.
I loved it. So, it reminded me of Triplets of Belleville, if anybody's ever seen that old animated film that won Best Animated Oscar, I think in the 90s or the early 2000s at the very least. But it's a great one. Check it out. Jason Schwartzman, J.K. Simmons, excellent voice cast.
Nobody knows what that is.
Nobody knows what is.
That film.
Which one?
The one you just mentioned that came out in the 90s.
The Triplets of Belleville?
Yes.
Guys, you got to get with it. Triplets of Belleville. Go look it up on Letterboxd. Okay, now we're going to move on to cinematography. The Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
This is a tough one, honestly, because there's just some films that were so notable for their visual style this year.
Mm-hmm.
The three that I would say, deserve it the most are The Lighthouse, 1917, and probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just because of the showcasing of all of the amazing, design.
Yeah. We'll get to the production design, which is phenomenal for that film, but they showcased it with the cinematography. And there's that great oneer shot with Bruce Lee and Brad Pitt, their fight scene. That's all one take.
Yeah, that was
fun. Until, he throws them into the car door. So, there's a lot of sneaky good cinematography in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yep. I think obviously it's not going to win because it's overshadowed by just the pure artistic amazingness that is 1917's
Roger Deakins.
Roger Deakins is a god when it comes to cinematography.
He should have won so many times. He won a couple of years ago for Blade Runner 2049. Yep. I agree. He's going to win again here.
Yeah.
This is if you're in Vegas and you're only placing one bet on one Oscar, it's 1917 to win Best Cinematography.
Which, honestly, if The Lighthouse does take it, I wouldn't be mad about it.
They won tonight at the Film Spirit Awards, so that was a good. There are people out there that love it, and honestly, I really thought The Irishman had incredible cinematography as well. Scorsese always does, and The Joker is brilliantly shot. Yeah. So all of these films are deserving, but 1917 just being the single take movie, it's going to get it. Just like Birdman did, just like Revenant did, just like Gravity did.
Yep.
They like that.
Stylized films.
They like it when you really, hide the lights. All right, so now we'll go to costume design. We've got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Honestly, I don't know. I think Little Women probably deserves it just because it's such a time period piece and they had to put so much work into that costume design. Just the set design, everything in that movie would look beautiful and authentic to its time period. I really loved the costume design in The Irishman too. I thought that it really encapsulated its time.
Both those movies, it's not it's the amount of costumes they had to create. It's such a big cast, a lot of extras. You're not just creating Joker is amazing and that outfit they came up with. But ultimately, the costumes around it, doing 80s period, not quite as difficult as doing Civil War or even 1960s. But you know what I gotta say is Jojo Rabbit, I think is what I would vote for.
Okay.
Because there's so many incredible costumes in that movie.
Sam Rockwell definitely had
Sam Rockwell, he's designing his own costumes, like in the movie with drawings, and then later on it comes to fruition, which is amazing. But just the little kid Archie in the robot outfits that they're in, and then like he's wearing the cardboard, the soldier's uniform made of paper because like the Nazis are like losing World War II and they had no money left. There's a lot of humor in that. I'm going to tell you that I think Jojo Rabbit is the dark horse to win Best Costume.
Okay.
That is my dark horse. It's probably going to be Little Women just because they want that movie to win something.
Yeah.
But don't be surprised if Jojo Rabbit sneaks a win it.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a shame that Greta Gerwig?
Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig is not getting nominated for much this year.
Well, she's good, and again, she's also young, and like Adam Driver, like Scarlett Johansson, I think she has a lot of movies that she's going to be making down the road.
Yeah.
It's a tough year. 2019 is the best year for movies since 1999, I think. True. There's so many Taika Waititi should have gotten nominated. And as a matter of fact, we're there. Directing is the next category. So let's just go ahead and talk about
Let's do it.
We've got Martin Scorsese for The Irishman. Mm-hmm. We've got Todd Phillips for The Joker. Yep. We've got 1917, that's Sam Mendes. Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Yep. Now, Greta Gerwig didn't get nominated. Taika Waititi, I think he got the DGA nomination over Todd Phillips. Noah Baumbach for Marriage Story could have gotten nominated. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was the Safdie brothers who won Best Director tonight at the Film Independent Spirit Awards.
And who gave the
greatest award speech ever. Google it now. But from this list, the one I'm going to talk about real quick is Todd Phillips. And, I think a lot of people are ignoring that nomination a little bit. But the reason why I think his nomination is so deserved is because he directed Joaquin Phoenix's performance in this movie. Yeah. I always think an actor's performance is a combination of the actor, the director, and the editor.
Yeah.
That's how you get the best performance of the year.
Absolutely.
So I don't think Todd Phillips is winning. Nobody does, but he's definitely deserving of the nomination just for that performance. One of the greatest performances we've ever seen.
Absolutely. He created an environment where Joaquin could shine as much as he did.
Yeah.
And that was something that I would have never expected to see out of Todd Phillips. So.
No. I mean, I really loved, and I think for me, it was seeing War Dogs with Jonah Hill and what's his name from Whiplash?
J.K. Simmons?
No.
Miles
Teller. Yeah, Miles Teller and Anna de Armas is in that as well. Gives a terrific performance. War Dogs, I think, was the first time I was like, wow, Todd Phillips is more than a comedy director.
Okay.
And it's not a surprise that he turned in Joker. But
I haven't seen it, so.
War Dogs, everybody, check it out. But I think this is really coming down to Bong Joon-ho and Sam Mendes, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sam Mendes has gotten a lot of recognition for his direction in 1917.
Won the DGA, won the Golden Globe.
Which, I mean, I think it's definitely warranted. You have such long takes, and to have your actors just like do
a lot of coordinating,
all of the things that they did throughout that entire performance is just like it's amazing. Like the feat of that film in general is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
However, I mean, the performances weren't anywhere as notable as Parasite's actors. So, obviously,
and I think,
Bong Joon-ho.
And I think creating like a film that's just such an international sensation among that transcends language.
Absolutely.
This really did do an amazing job. I would say between Bong Joon-ho and Sam Mendes, it's a coin flip on your ballot.
Yep.
You can go with your heart.
Yep.
I would have to agree with you that I would say Bong Joon-ho is who deserves to win.
Yes.
But Sam Mendes is probably who's going to win.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to skip on over to film editing, which we were just speaking about. We've got Ford versus Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, and Parasite.
Yeah.
Now, this is, I would say, the category that will make or break a lot of Oscar pools because there's no 1917 on it.
Yep.
Which a lot of people would just kind of click that off.
Yep.
As I said, Joker, I think with Joaquin's performance, I think editing really comes in a lot there into
absolutely.
shaping that performance.
I would say that as far as the films on this list go, the most... It's interesting because Ford v. Ferrari, the editing is very, like... The editing is... what am I looking for here?
Precise?
Yeah, the editing is very noticeable. But at the same time, it's also very well crafted and tight. And very good at like punching all of those beats.
Well, you got to make those car races exciting.
Exactly.
And there's a pacing to just, racing films that you just have to kind of keep it moving.
And I think it's done it better than most racing films I've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely.
So as far as like the sound design goes, like it blew me away like when I was watching it, because I didn't expect it to be as tight of a movie.
I mean, it's like, a big marriage of sound mixing, sound editing, and film editing. Like Ford versus Ferrari really did do a tremendous job making all those sequences exciting. And I think a lot of Academy voters don't know what sound mixing or sound editing is to the degree of which they do know what film editing is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that great sound editing and sound mixing, they're going to reward with the film editing.
Yeah.
However, I would say that Parasite also really does an incredible job of juggling so many characters. And who could very easily kind of get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
But I think that movie did a great job at really introducing each character and bringing that ensemble together in a cohesive way that could not have been achieved without the film editing that was accomplished with this film. So... I'm gonna, it's a tough year. And Jojo Rabbit, I mean, and should we make the Irishman joke? It's 3.5 hours long.
Yep.
How can you get best editing if you didn't make any edits? It was like 1917. He pressed record, and then 3.5 hours later, he was like, "That's the movie." No, but that movie actually. But I will say that no, that movie really moved well. Like the pacing, I thought was very good for the Irishman. So I'm not gonna make that joke, even though I just did.
Relative to it being like almost 4 hours.
I know. I can't wait for the director's cut. But and Jojo Rabbit, it's one of the shorter films on this list, but it also moved at such a nice pace.
Yeah, I think that it was the most well-paced film of the ones on the list.
I think there's honestly this is a wide open one. I really do not know what to recommend here, so it's your guess as good as mine.
Yep.
But I would probably narrow it down to Ford versus Ferrari and Parasite.
Yeah.
If I had a gun to my head.
Yeah. If anything, just because of the audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's now look at Best International Feature Film. We have this. We have Corpus Christi, Honeyland, which is a documentary, Les Miserables, which is the French film that is the reason why Portrait of a Lady on Fire did not get nominated, because they can only submit one film per country. Pain and Glory is from Spain, and Parasite, obviously, from South Korea.
Yeah.
And
Parasite.
Okay, let's go. Makeup, hairstyling, Bombshell, Joker, Judy, A Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and 1917.
Well, obviously, 1917 is not top of this list.
It's a weird one to get nominated, to be honest. I feel like Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, Avengers, Endgame.
So many blockbuster films.
There was some great makeup. There was a great opportunity. I think they just got lazy making the nominations here, but okay, whatever. Sorry, 1917, but you didn't deserve that one.
Nope.
But, I know you did not see Bombshell, and I'm going to tell you right now that one is going to win.
Okay.
And it is, yes, they definitely made Charlize Theron look like Megan, what's her name? Megan, Megan Fox, Megan from Fox, whatever it is, and Nicole Kidman looked like Gretchen Carlson. Really terrific job, but it's John Lithgow as Roger Ailes is unbelievable makeup. It was so good when I saw the movie. I thought John Lithgow was a lock for a Best Supporting Actor nomination. But then I just realized that the makeup for John Lithgow was a lock.
It was like Vice level.
Yeah, and it really was. And you know, and Darkest Hour for Gary Oldman, which also won. Now Judy, obviously great makeup there. I think the iconic makeup of Joker was amazing. I didn't see Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, but I'm sure Angelina Jolie looked terrific.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that this is Bombshell.
Okay.
No doubt in my mind. Okay. So now we're going to look at music original score. We have Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which is, I think, John Williams' 52nd Oscar nomination.
Probably.
But he's won a bunch, so he's not going to win again.
Yeah, I doubt it. And honestly, as far as Star Wars movies go, this was probably one of the least memorable soundtracks.
Well, I think it was a lot of callback scoring, in it, which a lot of this trilogy has been. There's two brothers nominated. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't.
1917 is Thomas Newman. And Marriage Story is Randy Newman.
Oh.
So we got a couple of brothers there.
Didn't realize that.
I wonder if they'll vote for each other. No, fuck that. Fuck you. I hated you my whole life.
Yep.
These brothers, they clash.
Yep. Pulling hair.
Also,
Thomas Newman's got a lot of it. So.
Another thing about Thomas Newman, he was nominated for the Oscar for Best Score in 1994 for Little Women.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he didn't do the score this time. Andrew Desplat did it.
Yeah.
But Desplat's won a bunch before. I do not know how to pronounce the lovely young woman's name who composed Joker.
Yep.
But I'm going to say that
she obviously had the best score.
It was a score that is so closely associated with the character. Yeah. I even bring it back to the direction, the editing. When they filmed the bathroom scene, that was actually a completely different scene. And then Todd Phillips played him some of the score, and then they just did the impromptu dance, and such a great story that they've been telling, and it's the reason why Joker's gonna win, and they've got to give a woman at least one award this year. It's in the contract with the network,
most likely.
Yeah, and Greta Gerwig obviously snubbed for director, so they're gonna try and make themselves look good.
There you go.
Okay, so best original song, there's Toy Story 4, Rocket Man, Breakthrough, Frozen 2, and Harriet. I saw Toy Story 4, I saw Rocket Man, I saw Frozen 2 and Harriet. Didn't see Breakthrough.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have much of an opinion on this because I've only seen one of these films.
Just Toy Story 4, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I think that Stand Up is the one that should win from Harriet that Cynthia Erivo sings. Absolutely phenomenal. But I'm going to say put down Rocket Man, Elton John on your ballot.
Yeah.
That's probably the one that's going to win. Okay.
Most likely.
Let's talk about production design. The nominees are Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. What do you think about these sets?
I think it's interesting because Parasite has such a simple, well, not necessarily simple, but such a small setting with very close attention to detail on the set.
They built those houses and the basement apartment. Those are all sets that they built
and they look great.
And I did not know that.
No.
I was for sure they just found some houses and shot in them, but no.
Exactly.
Incredible set design.
So I have
especially the flooding scene.
Yeah, no, that was incredible.
Where they're riding on the door.
I thought
and I definitely saw room for Leonardo DiCaprio on that door. During that flood. That was when I was like, oh, this is a serious contender.
Yep.
But
Rose is a serial killer, obviously.
Oh, so, for sure. You know, sorry. Kate Blanchett. I mean, Kate Winslet fans.
Yep.
1917, they did a really good job digging some holes in some fields and finding some old You know, I mean, but you know, it's the one they just reused the Wonder Woman set. I heard, you know,
it did kind of look like that.
That was I think they found the original Paths of Glory set from Kirk Douglas and Stanley Kubrick and just reused that set. No, that was.
I think the lighting is what punched those sets.
Those ruins that they found. I wonder if they built those ruins or they found those ruins. I know Jojo Rabbit. That's like they found that town. Yeah. There's a lot of these old destroyed towns. In Europe, that are really easy to. So I'm personally nixing 1917 and Jojo Rabbit for that reason.
Honestly, I think it comes down to The Irishman and Hollywood. The Irishman had some incredible production design, especially for the length of the film. Just how much attention to detail they had to pay and time and effort that went into. You know, all the design, not only for...
Similar to costumes, how many costumes they had to design. It's like how many sets they had to create.
I was about to say, they had to like make the people look good and they had to make the environment look good. So obviously, it deserves a nomination.
Yeah.
But
this is one I thought Joker honestly could have gotten a nomination for. I really loved the production design for that film. But it's sort of like with Irishman, where it's like you go to find these places in New Jersey and New York, and they still kind of look the same, you know, that they do in New York. There's a, you know, there's a lot of these. I think these are a lot of places that they just kind of found as well.
Exactly.
There's a lot for me. Irishman. It's just I remember a lot of little rooms, a little prison cell, a bowling alley, a little restaurant. Like, But you know, with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they took Los Angeles, which is a living, breathing, functioning city, and flawlessly transformed it to 1969 Los Angeles. And there's no CGI in that movie.
Nope.
And you know they
very minimal.
Very minimal. Yeah. There's nothing that's along the lines of what you normally see in these films. You know, go watch the behind the scenes for Wolf of Wall Street. There's so much CGI in that movie you don't even realize. Makes me wonder how much CGI is even in The Irishman. You know,
well, even
outside
Joker,
of the actors.
Even in Joker, like half of those sets were just like backgrounds that were created in post-production.
But Once Upon a Time, I just think that it's between Once Upon a Time and Parasite for me, but I think Once Upon a Time, this is the one it deserves. You know,
if anything, just for all those vintage cars that they had to get.
Oh, incredible!
Yeah,
incredible!
It was amazing.
Yeah, so good. Every car was a character.
Yep.
Okay, so now let's look at sound editing, which is Ford versus Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker.
Yep. I don't know. This is a toss-up for me because 1917 had really good sound editing. Just the experience of going through like the perspective of the main characters was like very authentic, just as far as the explosions going off, even down to the footsteps, like the Foley job for this film was incredible,
phenomenal.
However, I think if I had to personally choose from this list, I would probably go with Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, I think Ford versus Ferrari in 1917. It's going to come down to those two.
Yeah.
Academy members probably just going to go 1917. They're not going to think that hard about it, but every now and then they do. They do.
I'm hoping that Ford v Ferrari gets at least one of the two that we mentioned.
Yes. I mean, film editing, I think, is its better bet. But I'm not counting out Parasite there. But in here, I think Ford versus Ferrari 1917, like you could coin flip that, but 1917 might be the one that takes it just because war.
Yeah.
They like war in the Oscars.
I mean, I saw both of them in Dolby, so they were just super good.
Yeah.
Super good.
And then sound mixing, we have nominated Ad Astra, Ford versus Ferrari, Joker 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And really here you just essentially have Ad Astra and Star Wars flopping out, and then the other four nominees are the same for sound editing.
Yep.
So I think there you could kind of eliminate Ad Astra, though I love the mixing in that film.
I think the sound design in that film was the most interesting part about it.
Yeah, and the cinematography and production design I love for that film. But Ford versus Ferrari in 1917, I think it's going to come down to those two. And you could see it. Normally, now this is a thing, normally the film that wins mixing also wins editing. It's very rare that they split unless the one that won isn't nominated in the other category. But they're both nominated here. But you know, I don't, again, once again, I don't know if the Academy members, just based on a lot of the ballots that I read, a lot of times they're like, I don't know what this even means. Like, they're admitting it. I'm not accusing them. They admit they don't know what the hell it is. So, they abstain, or they just kind of vote the same. So
it's like a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah. So maybe Ford versus Ferrari. I think you're safe. I think on your ballot, you might just want to go 1917, Ford versus Ferrari, and hope that for a split, you get one right.
Bingo.
Or if it's 1917, you get both right. Or maybe, you know, maybe Ford vs. Ferrari is going to see some love here.
Yeah.
It did get that Best Picture nomination, so
maybe.
But I think our advice is 1917 or Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah. Honestly, just for the amount of things that are going on in those films that needed to be recorded or edited in post.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Finally, in the Tech Cats, we're going to look at visual effects, which is Avengers Endgame, The Irishman, The Lion King, 1917, and Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, The Lion King is one big visual effect, so it probably a win.
I mean, but the Avengers Endgame, that weighted battle scene with all the superheroes in the end, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, it's
a good way to give, like, they always give an Oscar to, like, one comic book movie for something, like Suicide Squad winning Best Makeup. Although last year, First Man did win.
Yeah.
Amongst, you know, all of the big Solo and Avengers and I think Ant-Man and the Wasp. But
blockbusters aren't always a shoe-in.
Yeah, sometimes. So I think 1917 could get it.
Maybe.
Based on that logic, where... Yeah. A lot of the other visual effects sort of cancel each other out, and in 1917 they're like, how did they, you know, create the plane crashing, the the explosions, all of this stuff.
Yep.
But like you said, The Lion King is just one big visual effect. This is another, and then The Irishman. You know, I know everybody, you know, the de-aging stuff. It didn't work perfectly, but you know, it definitely
there was a lot of work that went
into it. Also, I actually think that they did a better job with Sam Jackson and Captain Marvel earlier this year.
Yep.
I felt his de-aging was a little better.
Yeah, that was the same year.
It was. Wow. Yeah, I know, right? It seems so long ago. But yeah, so I would say The Avengers, The Lion King, 1917. I love the visual effects of Star Wars, but I think that that's won so much in the past. It's really going to come down to the aforementioned three, and The Lion King. God, it's hard to vote against that.
Yeah,
the Jungle Book one, right?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
I don't remember.
But you know, and if it didn't win, now's the time to honor Jon Favreau and his team for
honestly,
creating this entire movie on a soundstage.
Well, with the work they've done since on The Mandalorian, I almost feel like a little biased to give him that, just because he's been making so much interesting stuff lately with that kind of environment. So I want to see more of what he does. But honestly, like, Endgame was such an experience too, and it was a 3-hour film with so many visual effects.
Exactly.
And just the sheer quantity makes me almost want to give it to them because of all the work that went into it.
Yeah, so there's your advice. We can give you no clear-cut path to this category being correct in your Oscar pool. But Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, 1917.
If I had to bet money on it, I'd go Lion King.
All right, I would probably go Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
Okay, now writing, adapted screenplay. We've got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes. What do you got in this category?
I think The Farewell should win.
That's an original screenplay. It should win. It didn't even get nominated.
Well, I guess I'll have to edit that out.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's okay. You can look dumb.
There you go.
The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, The Two Pups. Like, so they could, you know, with they could give Greta Gerwig, you know, an Oscar here for snubbing her for director.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. It was an acceptable adapted screenplay. I would say that it was a little. It could have been structured a little better.
Well, that's what she did. I mean, if you've seen any other version, I'm most familiar with the 94 Winona Ryder, Christian Bale, Little Women.
Which I still need to see.
And it's a very straightforward adaptation. And I think without having seen that Little Women, I would have been totally lost in this movie, to be honest. And even watching it, I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, it starts with the middle of the book, then we're going back. And so, you know, I think it was a very, I think it was a very interesting choice, what she did.
Yeah.
But Jojo Rabbit is, you know, he takes Hitler and makes that character of an imaginary best friend. You've never seen the imaginary best friend done in such a way. He's telling so many different character stories. I mean, just the reveals towards the end, without giving any spoilers. It's just some amazing stuff in this. Taika Waititi, also, again, nominated for the DGA Awards, also snubbed for the directing Oscar, but did win the WGA for Best Adapted Screenplay. So...
just for the dialogue, too.
Yeah.
The film had so much good, like, character relation building in it, and it was all thanks to the screenplay.
Yeah, I'm going to say Jojo Rabbit is going to be what takes it, but Little Women does have a shot as well.
Yep.
All right, let's look at original screenplay. We've got Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, and The Farewell. Damn it! Oh, The Farewell didn't get nominated. Oh, I was so pissed. Yeah. How is the 1917 screenplay nominated? It is just basically Saving Private Ryan, you know, meets The Revenant. You know, it's like, there's no dialogue. It's just setting up listen, there's a lot of amazing action and sequences and stuff in that.
There's even some great, like, dialogue, as far as the performance goes. Like, there's a lot of great performing of okay dialogue, but
no, not for screenplay. Everything else, it's like Titanic didn't get nominated for screenplay for a reason. It got every other nomination because it was a technical masterpiece. Yep. This is a technical masterpiece, but it did not deserve screenplay nomination, in my opinion. Knives Out, brilliantly structured Agatha Christie mystery.
So great.
Marriage Story is just wonderful, just back and forth. I mean, the way he tells that story.
Is all script.
It's all screenplay, no improv. Yep. That is the dialogue they did not. It's very David Mamet.
Yep.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino. I mean, who else could have ever written that movie? Nobody else could have written that movie. Yep. And then Parasite is also, I mean, it is Joker meets Us, but, you know, those movies came out this year, so he had no idea he was writing a movie based on those two films. So I would have to say that it's, for me... it's going to be between Parasite and Tarantino.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, any of the films besides 1917 on this list deserve to win.
Yeah.
Marriage Story is so rooted in its screenplay that, you know, you could argue that it deserves it just based off of the merits of this screenplay is enough to win you Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. Also won tonight at the Film Independent Spirit Awards for Best Screenplay, so it's getting its recognition as well.
I mean, Knives Out just has so many interesting directions that it takes you, and the exchange between characters made the dialogue pop even more.
Oh, yeah.
But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like... it's so genius in the fact that it distracts you from even being a screenplay.
Yeah.
That you're just like, you're in the world, just like any Tarantino movie.
And he wins all the time. He's won for Pulp Fiction. He's won for Inglourious Bastards. Or did he win? No, did he win for Django Unchained?
Yeah.
Nominated for Inglourious Bastards. He's always nominated. This would be his third Oscar for screenwriting. I could very well see him winning it. He's only making one more movie after this.
Supposedly.
So, but Parasite is also, you know, I just don't think they're gonna let Parasite, because I think they're not gonna want Parasite to go home with just the international Oscar. I think screenplay is maybe its best chance at a second Oscar outside of film editing and production design, which I think, you know, again, they have some pretty stiff competition in Ford versus Ferrari and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood there.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I think Tarantino and Parasite, Bong Joon-ho and his assistant, who he wrote the screenplay with, his assistant, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And it is a great script.
Great story, you know.
It's a great script.
So I would say it's a coin flip between those two.
Yep.
But I would personally probably, gosh, I don't know what I probably would vote for Hollywood, but I'd be happy to see Parasite win.
Yeah. I would vote personally for Marriage Story, just because I think Noah, like, he couldn't have wrote a tighter, more well-crafted script.
It could, listen, that could be a surprise winner, you know? Yeah. There might, Parasite and Tarantino could split the difference. Who knows? This is one of the
It's anybody's game.
All right, now we're going to go to Best Picture, the last award that we're predicting. We're not going to talk about documentary feature, animated short film, live action short film, or documentary short film, because who has time to watch those movies?
Go watch Kit Bull, though. If you
Kit Bull is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing, especially if you've ever owned a pit bull like I have.
Oh.
So we have Best Picture, Ford versus Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Mm-hmm. That's 9 films nominated. They can nominate up to 10.
Yeah.
Knives Out did get the 10th nomination for the PGA Awards.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And at the PGA Awards, 1917 won.
Yep.
1917 won at the Golden Globes. Mm-hmm. It won many other awards. It's really been 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite are the 3 films that have won multiple awards in other places. And these are all great films. I do think it comes down to those 3.
Yeah. Honestly, like, it might be one of those weird years where we get a surprise, but if I had to pick, I would probably pick Parasite, just because of all the different elements that came together so well between visual storytelling, set design, the acting.
Yep.
Just like all of these things came together to create an international phenomenon.
Yep.
And I think that worldwide, it's like the most recognized film on the list. And
yeah.
I think that
they've all been really successful, though. I would say from a financial standpoint, I don't know what the box office are, but they've all made over $100 million.
Yep.
Parasite's done very, very well
yep.
In the United States and everywhere else in the world. 1917 has been number 1 at the box office every week until until Bad Boys 3 and Birds of Prey this weekend. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, another, I think, $300 million it made worldwide. Yep. So a lot of recognition with all of these films. I would vote for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood myself. I think that it was the most original of all of the movies.
Fair enough.
This year. I loved it. I love acting. I think it really took the craft of filmmaking, editing, cinematography, production design, costumes. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really did. And it did something that we just don't ever get to see.
Yeah.
And it's a love letter to old Hollywood. And you know, and Parasite is obviously upstairs, downstairs. You know, it's the 1% versus everybody else.
Yep.
And then 1917 is just war, you know,
yep.
When, you know, innocent young people are just thrown into shit that old people want. Handling, you know, some old people that just can't get along and need to start a world war.
Yep.
You know,
it's crazy.
Old people. So, but it's a beautiful film. Obviously, like, you know, Birdman and The Revenant and Gravity.
Very stylized.
You know, a lot of times maybe I could see a split where like Mendes gets director and Parasite gets Best Picture, or Bong Joon-ho gets, you know, Best Director and 1917 gets Best Picture. It's a tough year, you know.
It's a toss-up. I definitely think as good as 1917's direction and execution was, like, it doesn't deserve Best Picture, obviously.
Yeah. I'm with you there too. I think it's more the cinematography is what leads that. I just came out of that. It's like Call of Duty. It's like watching somebody play Call of Duty, act it out.
From a third person perspective.
Yeah, like literally behind it, following the characters. It really felt like that to me. Like, felt like watching that. And that's not a bad thing. But at the end of 1917, I kind of came out of it. I didn't feel like my soul was changed. I just felt like, oh, that was a really incredibly well shot movie.
Yeah.
Experience. It was like a theme park ride. Speaking of like Martin Scorsese's obsession with comic book theme park movies.
Yep.
He called Hitchcock movies theme park rides, so come on. But you know, it is a theme park ride, this film. It is a theme park ride. So that for that reason alone, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I just think encompasses more of the crafts.
Yes.
And again, it just, this world that we live in sometimes, our imaginations are how we escape reality.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some horrible things that have happened in history. And Tarantino, he just asks questions that we never think to ask. And I just think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's never won Best Picture. Pulp Fiction never won. Inglourious Basterds didn't win. Django Unchained didn't win. It could have, all three of those films could have and should have won Best Picture the years they were nominated, in my opinion. 94 was a tough year, but Pulp Fiction was just such a revelation.
It's the year I came out.
Oh, yeah. Wow, look at that. It's the year I almost was able to drink. But
that's the year of Forrest Gump.
That was the year of Forrest Gump. Shawshank Redemption, obviously one of the greatest films ever
Lion
made.
King.
I know. The Lion King should have been nominated for Best Picture. But anyways, the original one, 94, not this year's.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a great opportunity to give Tarantino, I mean, maybe they're going to count on that 10th one being the one to give Tarantino a Best Picture.
Yeah.
I think Tarantino deserves one of his movies to have won Best Picture.
Just for that reason, it probably should win. Just because the award ceremony is a popularity contest.
And listen, it's like there's a lot of people, this is Hollywood. There's a lot of people that are involved in this movie, and that makes up the voting and they've all worked with him before. And, so I still think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has a really good shot at winning.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say it's in third position behind Parasite in 1917.
Yep.
Based on the momentum.
As far as films that affected me personally, I would choose Marriage Story. Just because I think that it's the most important film that came out on this list.
I agree. But no Best Director nomination makes it really, it's really rare for a movie to win Best Picture when the director didn't get nominated. The only two times I can even think of in recent history are Argo and Driving Miss Daisy.
Yep.
So that's the only reason. I initially thought that maybe when I saw it, I was like, oh, this could be the one. But then when Baumbach didn't get nominated, I was thinking, less likely.
Probably not.
But I did also came out of that film, like, oh man, this is what it's like to go through a marriage. I can't wait to get married. Parasite, though, is another movie where I just, you just really kind of come out, like similar to Joker. You come out of it with this new appreciation for those who have and don't have. Specifically, the moment when the rainstorm's happening, and the next day, the poorer family is like they've lost their wherever they live. So much horrible stuff has happened, and then the rich people are like, oh, we really needed that rain. Washed away all of the gunk. And that's something my parents always say, I've always noticed, where they're just like, oh, a good rain. That's what we need. And it was the first time I've always said that. And then it was the first time I was like, shit, maybe this good rain is bad for other people. Floods, killing people, things like that. So it's like, it doesn't, to me, that was its best, that was the best way that it illuminated the differences in class. And
I think it was the most layered film that came out this year.
Absolutely.
And for that reason, I think that it probably deserves Best Picture.
Yeah. So you got it from us right here. The Irishman is winning Best Picture.
God, I hope not. I
think The Irishman is going to do something that hasn't been done since for Martin Scorsese since 2002. Gangs of New York, 10 nominations, 0 wins. I think we're going to see a big donut. One of Daniel Craig's Knives Out donut holes for Martin Scorsese. Sorry.
If nothing else,
it's going to be a donut hole with a donut inside of it. So,
if nothing else, just for the comments that he made about cinema this year.
I know.
It's going to be everyone slapping him on the wrist.
Exactly. Cinema is... Even terrible movies are cinema.
Yeah.
And
it's all part of the
It's
experience.
all subjective. So you can't say, that Avengers, Endgame, Star Wars, these movies aren't cinema because you don't like to watch them.
Yeah.
That's not what cinema is. And I think he's understanding that. And I think his point was, to a certain degree, that because of all of these theme park movies, they take up all the spaces in the movie theaters.
Yeah.
But that's why we have streaming services now, where a lot of these amazing films like Marriage Story and The Two Popes,
Absolutely.
The Irishman, Klaus, so many films that just went direct to streaming.
Yeah.
And we don't all have time to go out and watch 100 movies a year in theaters. I can't even do that, and I like to go see a movie a week.
Yeah.
So we can't see them all in theaters. So
exactly.
We're gonna have to accept that some of the cinema you're gonna see on TV, and some you're gonna see at the big multiplexes.
And there's more films being made today than there ever have been in history.
Yeah.
So to say that cinema is, confined to some space that it was in the 1940s or 30s,
right. But again,
it's just not true.
Even the article that I read when he was defending himself, he's compared Hitchcock to theme park rides, and they were. Yeah. I mean, but they were cinema.
Thank God for those, because they inspired so many more.
Yeah, exactly. So, and this is a celebration of cinema, the Oscars. The studios, the Film Independent Spirit Awards are also amazing. They take place the Saturday before the Oscars. Mm-hmm. I love watching those every year as much as anything else, to see films like The Farewell, which did win Best Picture.
Yep.
Didn't get nominated for any Oscars, but it won Best Picture, won Best Supporting Actress for Xiao Zhen, who's also snubbed, who was absolutely phenomenal in that film.
Adam Sandler.
He won. The Safdie brothers won for Best Directing, and Best Film Editing.
Yep.
Willem Dafoe, who got snubbed, as they say, supporting actor for The Lighthouse, which also took cinematography. Wonderful films getting honored at the Film Independent Spirit Awards this year.
All the ones that you wanted to get Oscar awards.
The ones that you wanted people to pay a little bit more attention to, that didn't quite get the attention that we had hoped they would on Oscars big night, but these are amazing films that you should all watch in addition to these fine films that are nominated. Well, that's it. 2020 Academy Awards for the films of 2019.
Yep. That's quite a list.
Those are our predictions. That's our analysis, and we hope you've enjoyed.
Yeah. No, guys, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe. If you want to check out Jason Dolan's channel.
There's not much on it right now, but there's some old stuff.
I'll have that linked in the description.
That's right. And just my KTL short films now.
There you go. That's a whole nother story, folks. I'll talk to you about that sometime. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. This has been our predictions video for the year 2020 for the films coming out in 2019. See you next time.
All right. Nice.
Cool.
I just ran out of tape.